Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be working our way through a recap for Folklore February, all the things that I enjoyed, the books that I read, um, how I felt about the challenge in general, etc. I am going to try to keep this one fairly quick since it is a challenge that's already over, but I wanted to sort of give you my thoughts in case you decided this was one that you would want to do next year potentially. Okie dokie. So let's start. The very beginning, just as a recap, there was a couple of different parts to this challenge. The first part was a bingo card where there were 4 books, 4 other, and 1 bonus prompt. That bonus prompt could be used as the ABC challenge, or you could use it in a free space, however you wanted. There was also a general just bonus one that you could do anytime you wanted, if you wanted, and a book club. But to complete Folklore February, generally you did not have to do all or even any of the items that were here. These were more of suggestions, and if you wanted to go along with other people doing the same challenges, you could. But in order to technically check off the list or tick the box that you completed Folklore February, all you needed to actually complete was to interact in some way, shape, or form with folklore, fairy tales, fables, etc. during the month of February. And this was a Cat's Novel Adventures on YouTube and on Discord. So the first one are the 4 book challenges. So these were pick a book that had to do with adventure, animals, amore, and abracadabra. So I started out with Adventure, and this was a book that I switched out. I originally had a different book on here, but it didn't come in time for me to be able to finish it throughout the course of February. So I ended up picking up Bow Before the Elf Queen by J.M. Curl that is on Kindle Unlimited, and it was good. I actually added this to my series to complete in the future when I can fit it in because I thought it was really interesting, and I am interested in hearing how these mates the next part of turn the corner on this next part of their adventure. Um, yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because there's a lot of fun things. I like political intrigue. I like magic, fae, all the fun things, and all of those are in here. Is it my all-time favorite fae book? No, but I did like it. I enjoyed it, and as soon as I finished it, I did go and see if the rest of the series was available and put it on my list. So it was definitely one that I was like, yes, we'll complete. Then we got to Animal, and I chose Storm of Locusts by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this one was 4 stars for me, which means I really, really liked it. The first book in this series, I did end up choosing, I believe, 5 stars, and this one was a 4 stars. Not that necessarily this one wasn't as good as the first one. I just felt like I liked the first one better. Specifically, I thought the character development was more nuanced and there was more growth in the individual characters in the first book, and I really like that in a book. And then also, I thought that there was more interacting with the the folk and legendary elements in the first book that was also a fun thing to be having going on that you didn't really see as much in the second one. Not that it wasn't there. You definitely did learn about other characters, creatures, people, however you want to say them, gods, in the second one that you had not necessarily heard about in the first one. And you got to sort of see how different peoples were living and how the world has changed in this post-apocalyptic time period. And there was a lot of really, really good stuff going on in this book. And the main female character, is continuing her evolution as a character into, I won't say someone who's human, but someone who is um, working her way past trauma. And instead of being a very sort of flat, one-dimensional character, she is becoming much more nuanced and full-fledged as a character, and as somebody who I and other people would want to have in their corner and in their friend group and etc. as she's going through this change and who she is and understanding herself better, which I love seeing that. I think that that's a really cool thing I like to see, especially over a multiple book series, is how the character changes and not just like a little bit here, a little bit there, but like how that continues to build on itself. And I find that the ones that I like the most are the ones that I see shifts internally or in the relationships and how they're interacting with other characters that are healing or growth inspiring or that type of a vibe. Just having been reading the In Death series, at least the first time, what, five, six, oh god, I think I'm on like 11 or 12 action now, thinking about it. I'm a bit in. And just looking at how I rated, they were all, 3 to 4 stars. But the ones that I was like, this one was a really, really, really good one. It's specifically because Eve Dallas is having more of those like internal changes, and either that or she's learning to interact and trust people who are around her and actually call them friends and things like that. And that's where she's at this point. The first book, she was very much a traumatized person learning to people sort of again and sort of be around other people and interact with people in a way that was more dynamic and less scared of like forming attachment. And now she's starting to have attachments and she's realizing that's okay. And what does she want in those who are having attachments to her, and is she accepting of that, and how do those attachments change her as a person? How do those relationships affect her emotionally amongst this, hey, we're going on an adventure kind of thing? We've got to go save the person, and we've got to go, fix the big major problem by the end of the book, which all of that is still going on, but we've moved into a different sort of sphere of where she is as a character in this book that was different from where she was in the last book. And I liked the first one a little bit better on that, because I think there were two characters kind of going through that simultaneously in their own ways and interacting amongst themselves in that. And you really didn't have that as much in the second one, because you only have one of the characters that was in there for a brief period in the second book. You have other characters that are helping this development going on, and they're going on the adventure, but you don't necessarily have the main couple. I mean, they're not necessarily a couple, but the main female and male character from the first book in the entirety of the second book. Hopefully, you find that out like right at the very beginning, so it's not something that is hopefully going to be that big of a deal. But anyway, I could talk about this book for a long time, but I'm trying to figure out how to say things without saying too many things. But yes, go get this book. Start with the first one, then go to this one. When the next one comes out, get that one too. I very much am enjoying this series. All right, next. Oh, hello. Amore. So this is Stars Above is an anthology that had mostly short stories and some novellas. Within it, it was a fairly short book itself. I want to say it was like maybe 8 or 9 hours long on audiobook. And I did skip over a couple of the short stories because I had already read them in other locations. But most of the actual text that was in here was stuff I had not read yet, which I really enjoyed. Now, I do have another one that I need to read now, which is Cinder's Adventure. And then there is one that was written, a short story that was written during the pandemic that I also want to read. So I keep finding more outside of the main series stuff that I want to read, because I want to read all the things that have to do with this fabulous world. And so I probably will finish them all in definitely this year, but in the next couple of months, as I can find them and get them checked out and borrowed, etc. But this one was the last sort of published book that I could find. The other ones were either short stories that were like published on her website or through newsletters or things like that, or there was one ebook, which is the Cinder's Adventure, that is shorter, and it looks like it might be like a choose your own adventure. I just checked it out from the library, so we will see. I know nothing about it other than it's called Cinder's Adventure. But I'm looking forward to finishing it up, and then I'm like, well, maybe I should read it again. No, I've got so many things. I will circle back around, but not this year. Not going to read the whole series again this year. So far. I have a lot of other things that I really want to get through. My TBR never ending, man. But yes, I did like this one. 3 stars. Because there's so many short stories and novellas in there, I tend to not love it as much as I do full-fledged novels. Just generally, especially in fantasy. But yes, that's why I was a 3 rather than a 4. I just didn't get the amount of content that I would like to really get it up to a 4 level. And then for Abracadabra, I read Legendborn, and this one is also going on my to-be-finished series. I've already put the next one on hold. I will probably be waiting for a little while to get it, but I definitely enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Bonus, screen adaptation of my favorite, legend, folktale, fairy tale, fable, myth, tall tale, etc., etc. I don't really have a favorite, but I did watch 2 movies. I mean, they're both cartoons. I would watch Shrek and Tangled. There are probably a couple other things that would have fallen into inspired by, but they weren't really like a screen adaptation of the fairy tale itself necessarily. So those are really the 2 that I think would fit the best. So I went ahead and put Tangled on here for that first one, and then you'll see Shrek up here in a minute. So for the other items, things that are not necessarily reading, you can read, but they didn't have to be a book. The first one was craft, and since I was watching Tangled, I decided to color a coloring page for Tangled. Very basic. It didn't take me very long to do, but I also was working on the journal and things like that. So, but I still wanted to do something that was crafty-ish that I had time and mental stamina to do, because it's been a very difficult month when it comes a little bit more than a month. I've been very, very stressed, and my brain does not like to be stressed. It does not like to concentrate when it is stressed. So I didn't want to pick anything that was significantly needing my brain to be interacting. I wanted something I could kind of check out and do without a whole lot of cognition needed. We got to Mirror. So for that one, I chose Shrek, like I mentioned, as the second movie that I watched for this challenge. And I don't know about you guys, but we regularly quote this movie in our house and amongst our friends and just generally. So it made sense to pick this one, and we had made without the week or 2 before, we'd said several times, and I was like, we should watch that movie. We should watch that movie. And so eventually I was like, you know what? No, we're going to watch it. It's going to happen right now, and we're going to sit down and we're going to watch this. It's going to be great. And I had some drinks and just hung out, had a relaxing evening watching Shrek and giggling. Potion, I originally had planned on making porridge, and I decided that I would go with drinks instead. So I played D&D, and we took a snack and a drink to our D&D session this last month, and yeah, I decided to go with D&D inspired drinks rather than just like bringing a drink in general. And these 2 that are pictured are non-alcoholic, but there was an alcohol variant available. So on the first one on the left, that was the Potion of Fire Breathing, and I did not make up these recipes, I will say. But that one is cider and ginger ale and bitters, I think orange bitters, It's very basic. And then for the other one with the sparkles, it is a potion of common healing, and that one is Sprite, maraschino cherry juice, um, orange extract, and luster dust. And then if you wanted to make them alcoholic, it was a cinnamon whiskey of some kind on the fire breathing, obviously, and we just went with vodka for the other one. But yeah, they were fun. I very much enjoyed having luster dust. I've only really seen it on like cakes and such, but I'm having some fun putting it in drinks because why not? And then we get to reimagine, and for this one, I did read two books that could have fit here. The first one is Fairest of All that you see here, which was not my favorite in general. Probably book that is a fairy tale sort of spin-off. I thought it was just a little bit too close to the movie once we got to the part where the movie started like potentially interacting. There wasn't like, I don't know, I just, it wasn't my favorite. Or Hexed, I also read that one, which is a dark romance retelling of Little Mermaid. So that one would have also fit. All right. And then ABC's her folklore. These are both the same. It's just like the picture one a little bit better, personally. So you can sort of see where I pulled them all from. Not everything you see on here is stuff that I have already mentioned. So for instance, Moonbitten, Jackalope, Nothing But Black and Teeth, Lore Olympus, Bloodlines, Fern's School for Wayward Fae, and Castle in the Air. Oh, and Red. None of those were ones that we'd already talked about, but they definitely could have been potentially books we used or I used elsewhere. So some of the fun ones I think are the most fun on here. I really liked Lore Olympus. I read 2 of those in the month of February, so I'm not quite caught up. I read 8 and 9. I know I am caught up now because 10's not quite. I don't think 10's out yet. At least it hasn't come up saying I should pre-order. I should probably check on that. So I'm caught up at least on the ones I have. They're all on my shelf now. And Moonbitten was fun. I think I mentioned that before elsewhere. And I actually picked up Bloodlines thinking it was a different book. I thought that it was the original series, that this is a spin-off series. So I may end up reading both of those series because why not? I think the first one of the spin-off series was actually pretty good. I liked it. I believe I gave it 3 stars. And I wouldn't mind digging into this world a little bit more. I haven't read anything else, I don't think, by Rochelle Mead ever. Not that I can think of. So maybe that's something that I missed out on when these came out. And then Castle in the Air is one of the Studio Ghibli challenge ones that I'm working my way through, which I also enjoyed. Though it was not the one that I thought it was either when I picked it up. I didn't realize it was like the next one in the Howl's Moving Castle series. I, for some reason, thought that it was a whole different, like related to a whole different movie. It was not, but it was good. It wasn't what I was expecting. Anyways, that is it for this challenge because I did not finish the buddy read. I didn't actually even get it in time to start it, unfortunately. But it is one that I think would be interesting, so it is on my TBR to read in the future because I think it'll be fun. It seems kind of, at least based on the little blurb, kind of like a kooky version of a mystery, which sounds like a hoot. So I definitely do want to read it. I just haven't gotten to it. So that's all technically finished for Folklore February. I appreciate you coming along with me. Generally, I really did enjoy this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was trying to interact on Discord on at least a weekly basis, maybe once or twice a week if I had time or if I had anything to add. But yeah, I'll probably end up doing this one next year. I enjoyed it. So I also really just like folklore and mythology in general. And I don't know if that's a surprise to anybody, but quite literally, like my first semester in college, I like tracked down the professor, the head of the department, um, to let me enroll in mythology because that was technically a junior level course, and I didn't need any humanities courses that were on like the freshman and sophomore level one, and I really, really wanted to take mythology, and I had to get special permission to join it. And I was like, okay, I will plead my case. Send me on my way. Where is this guy's office at? Let me go. So I did, and I got into it, and then I ended up taking cultural mythology as well. And um, when I was a student teacher, I created a unit that was all about Greek mythology for third graders. Let's see, like it's been as long as I can remember. Some of my first books that I can remember, they've always been either folklore, fantasy, paranormal. That is kind of my vibe. I very much enjoy it. So even if it wasn't like an entire month just sort of dedicated to hearing what other people are reading in that kind of world, and it was only like a couple of days or, throughout the year, one a month, I probably would do something. I would probably join it anyway because I think that it would be something that I would be interested in. But I did think it was a fun challenge for a singular month as well. So that's all I have to say on this one for now. And thank you so much. I will see you guys next time. Bye.